Hello, everybody. This is Christina Fisanick, and I'm broadcasting live from a cabin panel room at Ogilvy Park in Wheeling, West Virginia. This is the location for next year's WCONA conference. We were planning on being here this year, but the game in town is COVID, and that's why we're not here, except for a few of us. So tonight, I want to bring on my co-host, Damian Dressick. Hello, Damian.
Good evening, Christina. I hope we're not planning to put the entire WCONA conference all in that one paneled room next year. I am.
No, but it'd be fun to try. Talk about togetherness. So, I am really excited. This is our kickoff for this year's WCONA, and I can't think of a better way than what we're doing this evening. We have a wonderful writer coming on and an even more wonderful host to introduce him to us. And so, what's up over there, Damien? What do we have to offer our audience tonight?
I am so excited that we've got the virtual conference kicking off. This is super exciting. We've got a wonderful. I am so pleased. I am so pleased by the panelists we've got lined up for people tomorrow. And how many people are participating? What a wonderful reception we had from the writing community here in Northern Appalachia. I couldn't be more pleased. And all the hard work from the folks. I'm sure we'll say more about that tomorrow. And again, I agree. It's wonderful to be able to kick off the conference with a reading tonight, a special edition of WCONA Live with a literary luminary of Northern Appalachia.
Yes, absolutely. And I've read a lot of Dick Hague's work, but I have never heard him read it. And so I'm very excited about that. So let's bring Scott Hanna on to introduce him to us. Hi, Scott.
Hi, guys. How you doing?
Are you in Ohio, Scott?
What's that? Are
you in Ohio?
I am, yes.
Wow, look at that. We are representing the tri-state area here.
Yeah.
Well, yeah.
So tell us a little about Dick.
I had the great pleasure of meeting Dick at an Appalachian Studies Association conference at Marshall University. And so I can't remember exactly what year that was, but he happened to be in the audience as I was delivering a paper that discussed his work. So when I looked out there and saw him in the audience, I kind of freaked out for a moment. But then we met after the talk, and he invited me to a gathering of the Southern Appalachian writers later that night, and everyone sort of gathered and communed and did a read around, and it was just fantastic. So we kind of became friends at that conference, and then a couple years later, I invited him to West Liberty University to be the Hughes lecturer. Which was great. And that was on the heels of his book that won the Weatherford Award for poetry from the ASA Association. It was called During the Recent Extinctions. So personally for me, when I think of, Northern Appalachia, two poets immediately come to mind. One is James Wright from Martins Ferry, and the other is Dick Hague. And really, it was those two who kind of opened my eyes to the writing of the region. And, since I was born and raised in Wheeling, so close to both, Dick's from Steubenville, James Wright from Martins Ferry. So we all sort of grew up along the river. And that was the way I connected with, their work. So I've admired his work for years, and I'm really delighted to call him a colleague and friend now. And his work in the journal really is kind of representative of the journal as a whole, as it really captures the interplay of the cultural landscape, the connection between poetry and place. And so it's really, really great to have him here. And to mention, if we do have the opportunity to be at a face-to-face conference next year. He will be our keynote speaker. So hopefully that takes place. So I'm really excited to have him here to represent the journal, which, by the way, looks fantastic. Here's a hard copy of it. About a year of blood, sweat, and tears. And thanks to the leadership of a great editorial staff and our editor-in-chief, PJ Piccirillo, we organized the journal in terms of genre. And he gave us the opportunity to write our own introductions for each section, which was really nice too. So that really kind of brought an interesting feel to how each of us defined and the journal came together to kind of capture the Northern Appalachian region. And the way I decided to organize the poetry section, and this will be a good introduction to bring Dick on, was that so I had 40 some poets from all across the region. And so I decided to arrange them geographically, starting with the easternmost portion of Pennsylvania. And then if you read the journal poetry section straight through, you're kind of following a map from eastern Pennsylvania in a kind of a west-southwest direction across the region, down the Ohio River, and into, the sort of southwestmost reaches of the region, which is around Cincinnati, which is where Dick lives and works now. So it's a great pleasure to introduce Dick, who's going to be reading the three pieces that are in the Northern Appalachia Review, the inaugural edition. So we can bring on Dick.
I love that story of you meeting him. That is such a great story. That reading the conference paper, it's wonderful. And you look up. I love that story.
Well, and that's one thing about these smaller conferences, that we can really get to meet our heroes sometimes, and that's always just an amazing moment. So let's bring Dick on to read his poetry.
Well, thank you so much, everybody. It's really wonderful to be a part of this. I've been waiting for this for decades, I think. When I found an Appalachian Writers Group, it was the Southern Appalachian Writers Cooperative. And although it covers most of the region, it is more Central and Southern Appalachian. So what a kind of homecoming this is. It's really great, and I'm just so proud to be a part of it and very thankful. And Scott, I didn't intend to intimidate you sitting here in that lecture. I wanted to hear what you had to say about just Northern Appalachian poets, which you had a lot to say. So thanks for featuring me in that. But I'm really glad we got off on the right foot here and have remained friends and colleagues and fellow Ohio-Villanians. Villains or varlets or whatever we are. But so thanks so much. I'll just I have three poems. I would say one dark and two lights, as if I were in a bar ordering beer right now.
If only we were, right?
Oh, goodness.
Yes. Missing that more than anything else.
I think I am too. Yeah. Face-to-face teaching, real, flesh to flesh, but yeah, just the conviviality and the atmosphere of being able to get out and hang with friends. Plus, we have some really nice local dives in my neighborhood, one of which my son worked at for a while, and so I miss all the people. I see them passing on the streets, and that's about all we can do is just kind of wave. But so here's the dark one, and then we'll chase it with two lighter poems.
Well, we'll be back when you are finished.
Very good. Okay, thank you. So this is a poem called Men at Work, and it has a little note under the title. It's not an epigraph. It's just a kind of a setting. Mill towns in old Appalachia. And the intent with this poem was to really crank the language up because of the density of the subject matter. I wanted to see if I couldn't get the language about as dense. So men at work. In a clatter of collapsed beams, bent steel, smashed masonry, gravity piling on, cranes and derricks grub rubble with crab-clawed buckets, plumbing the wreckage, raising a deep blue diesel racket. Smashed lockers, open hearths, chemical tanks, blasted offices from which sheaves of nulled contracts tumble and spill. Each crane's new hoisting leaks down gyves of falling debris. Smoke lurks, dust billows, angle iron squalls and contorts. Hell has come. But then, exactly at noon, workers crawl out of their high machines or rusting crows' nests of scrap and ladder down to flat remains to break out lunch buckets and thermoses. Hard hats cast aside, they flip on their MAGA ball caps. After, they smoke leisurely in the wreckage, as if disaster is a daily event, no more surprising than a ringing phone, as if ruin is their native landscape, mountains of junk and rubble, valleys of V'd girders and tangled wire, landscapes of waste and loss, forests of burned metal through which small streams of coolant and steaming seepage from custodians' closets and wrecked break room vending machines trickle steadily downward, fishless, toxic, all the wrong colors for sky or water or blood. So the second one, much later, and I think it carries some of the landscape of southeastern Ohio, Monroe County, where I lived summers for many years after some traumatic events early in my professional life. I started to rusticate down to near Woodsfield, Ohio, and some of the details here are part of the things that were gifts to me in that landscape. So, goods not for sale. It is good to rise in the morning in the country, your neighbor's stove smoke ghosting the shreds of dawn that silver down through the trees. It is good to have survived long enough to know that pain may dwindle in time. It is good to speak plainly when life is sweet water to drink. It is good to have places like this to remember when away, old barrels, tractors rusted a velvet red, and fields of blooming ironweed, the glimpse of an Amish girl, her dress like a hanky waved in the wind, her face full of plenty and light. It is good to wake at midnight to the song of a mockingbird or the har of an owl far over the hill. It is good to know that thunderstorms can clean the soul. It is good to have been given years of homely music, the tinny gripe of the pump, the snort and gurgle of the sink drain, the z pizzicati of katydids in the cherry tree. It is good not to owe anything for all of this, enough to breathe, listen, be. And it is good not to have lived too long in the country. One grows old like the trees, and lightning is waiting. Even the broom sedge in winter cuts at the shins. Frost knocks on the doors of the knees. The city offers gifts of crowds and fervor and movement. Stillness can be fearful. Even the traffic lights come and go is an invitation. Shop lights shimmer and bloom. Day winks and goes on. Even out on the sidewalk, though hustle hawks its hurry every hour, though all seems hapless, Heraclitean change. Every pigeon now seems every pigeon ever. This final one owes a lot to what I have to call my poetry wife. Pauletta Hansel, the first poet laureate of Cincinnati and a native of Eastern Kentucky. We've known one another since she was a kid and since I was something of a kid, still a little older. And one time, she and my wife and I and her husband, we were all in Abingdon, Virginia, and they went in, the wives, to the dress shop, local dress shop, handmade dresses, and they both came out with the same dress. So there they were, women, wives, same dress. And then it became clear that every once in a while, her husband, Owen Kramer, and I would wear the same or similar tweed jacket. So because Pauletta and I did a lot of gigs around the region together, and because we were both deeply involved in Southern Appalachian Writers Cooperative as coordinators and editors of the journal and everything, Owen just declared us one day. He said, this is Dick's poetry wife. Pauletta, this is your poetry husband. So one workshop that Paulette and I were running many, many years ago, an adult workshop, the culminating event was a dinner. And I asked every writer in the group, and there were maybe 10 of us, to come with a poem of Thanksgiving. And so this very much follows the whole intent of Pauletta's. She's giving thanks for the feast of all poets. I'm giving thanks to things that I have seen along the Ohio River in my life, my riparian life along the edges. Ohio River benedictions. For the flight of the great blue heron, and after its stilty watchfulness ashore, grazie. For the trill of spring peepers on early March air, merci. For the dried mud slick gilding the old lock guide wall, danke. For uncanny words with which to sing the names of clams and mussels, cat's paw, three ridge, Ohio pigtoe, monkey face, purple warty back. Muchas gracias. For the simple letters that make such words, for S and G and B, for T and C and E. Praise, thanks, glory. Thank you so much.
That is really, really wonderful work.
Absolutely. I love the way that it captures sort of these three different aspects of the terrain and the mood of Northern Appalachia, with this very industrial, dark heat and light tension, but also that pastoral setting. I spent a lot of time in Woodsfield, Ohio myself as a kid because my aunt lived there. But also along the river, and how different that terrain is, and how it changes who we are inside and out, and how we think and what we think about. And wonderful, wonderful work. Thank you so much.
Well, thank you so much for publishing it, and for just getting this group together. I think this is going to be a really great group to be part of for a long time.
Thank you so much.
Yeah, thank you. So I love the way that the whole thing felt like almost it was one thing. And when you got to, you took us on this journey, and we got to the end, and the business with the letters and the praise and the glory, it's like it was like you're like our own little Virgil in the Ohio, in the river valley. And it's just like wow, at the end, like like if I hadn't been in the darkness, I wouldn't appreciate the light so much. That was so wonderful, Dick. Thank you.
Oh, thank you. I hadn't thought of it that way. We were in hell, I guess, for a little while there. Yeah.
Right.
Southern Appalachian writer Chris Offutt, who's one of his books, one of his collections is what is it? Hell on the Other Side or something. It's, you can't step into the same river, and then it's James Wright who knew that you could rise on the other side. So yeah.
Well, and I think that our tradition of literature here needs more attention because it's vibrant, it's wonderful, and we often think about our writers as being part of something else. And they are part of those things. But what do our voices say collectively about ourselves, about our region, about the culture here?
Yeah.
And we're hoping that that's a conversation we'll continue to have. And thank you for being part of it.
Thank you. Great. Good to see you too again, Scott. Man, we just got to get together face to face somewhere along the line.
Yeah.
So what were you doing in Woodsfield in those days, Christina? Visiting?
Well, yes, my aunt owned and lived on a very large farm there. And so we would go, my whole family would go, and we would go in different seasons, sometimes in the summer and help them pick corn, and sometimes in the fall and gather nuts, hickory nuts and walnuts until your hands were so stained when you went back to school. Everybody knew what you were up to over the weekend.
Yeah.
And sometimes we'd go, just spend the day hanging out on their farm and enjoying the animals they had, because they had horses and ducks and every critter that we didn't have back at my house. So it was always a treat to spend time there and to feel like I went somewhere else, even though it wasn't that far away. It seemed like it was another place to be. It got us out of the sort of rut of where we were living. And I have great memories of that.
Yeah. Great. Me too. Yeah.
Awesome. Well, thank you for introducing Dick, Scott, and for being part of the journal, and for being part of the planning of WCONA. And we will be together, I hope, next year. And Damian Dressick will be our conference chair next year. So he will be working hard on. You did know that, right, Damian?
Yeah.
Look on his face like, what? But we are looking forward to being back face to face, because that's where it's at, But hopefully we will all enjoy the conference tomorrow. We kick off tomorrow at 9:30 with a welcome message. And then we proceed throughout the rest of the day with wonderful presentations. And I have to say, we are so grateful to all of the writers that we have had work with us on this conference. We could not do it without our writers who are giving presentations, just like the one you gave, Dick. And there's no way we could do it without all of you. I mean, nobody wants to hear me talk all day. Ask my students. So anyways, thank you all so much. Damian, you have anything to add before we close?
No, I am just looking forward to seeing folks tomorrow in the morning for the welcome message and at the sessions. And WCONA Live, we should plug ourselves. We forget this. Yes. We are going to be doing Christina, help me out here. We are going to be doing what time are we on?
We are on in the afternoon. We will be part of a group of people that are going to talk about platforms for writers. And we are on at 2:00.
Yes, we are.
So we will be on with the White Whale. I believe we're on with the Little Bookstore, and also with, yes, thank you, the Tiny Bookstore, and also with Amy Jo Burns, Candathil. She will be there talking about, what can writers do these days to build their platforms, especially at COVID-19. So
everybody can see that because it's going to be on StreamYard. So even if you thought, dog on it, I did not remember to register for that conference, you can still see WCONA Live, the White Whale, the Tiny Bookstore, and Amy Jo Burns talk about platform building. And you can also see the wonderful music of Sue Powers at lunch.
Absolutely.
As well as something else, I think.
We actually have 5 sessions tomorrow that'll be StreamYard. On StreamYard and Stream Live through Facebook. And Scott, I see you over there. You got to get one more plug in for that great journal, right?
Beautiful.
And the
Yeah.
Northern Appalachia Review is available now to purchase, right, Scott?
Yeah, Sunbury Press and Amazon. It's on there. So if you like what you heard tonight, there's a bunch more great stuff all throughout the journal, all genres. So we're really proud
Including me. I believe my
Yeah.
piece is the first piece in there. So I'm excited about seeing it. I've been so busy with the conference, I haven't even looked at my own writing yet. So thank you, everybody. We'll see you all tomorrow morning. And I hope that you enjoy the conference. A lot of work and a lot of love went into it. So we'll see everybody tomorrow. Thanks again, Dick.
Thank
Have a
you.
good day,
Bye.
everyone. Thanks again, Dick.
Bye. Thanks.
See you tomorrow.
Take care. Great to see you again.